Hey everyone, can you guys hear me okay?
Coming in loud and clear, Amanda. How are you doing today?
Good. Oh my goodness, been just so excited for this grand finale. So you're welcome to Sam from the Matter Labs team, Matter Labs, who is behind zkSync era. Yeah, welcome again. I know we had you join in on our community call when we kicked off this campaign with Taho. And yeah, happy to have you guys back for the grand finale.
Thanks, Amanda. Happy to be here.
Yeah, Sam,
Awesome. How are
welcome.
you,
Oh
Nico?
my gosh, it is so exciting to be here. I got to be honest, it's kind of a little bittersweet though. I've been having so much fun. These calls have been amazing.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them too, though. It is going to be nice to have a bit of a break too. They have been, it's been like 6 weeks. I think it was supposed to be four, but then I think you have like ETH NYC too now, right? Where you're kind of super busy, but then there was Korea Blockchain Week, Permissionless, Token 2049, just like so many conferences. Everyone's been like busy, so we had to kind of delay a little bit so we can get Sam on this call.
Yeah, yeah. No, and it's crazy. It's like summer camp, you know. I mean, we were just so intense and yeah, it's like 4 weeks, but now it's over. Um, um, so yeah, it's been so much fun though. Amazing content too. I am. I'm in Philly right now. I have some family out in Philly and making my way up. I'm gonna jump on the train tomorrow and ETH New York. So boy, it's been a busy summer. And I think
Nice. I'll be there too.
oh, totally awesome. Are you excited? I mean, it's such an amazing event. It's right in Chelsea.
No, I live in New York, so not too far.
Oh man, I'm excited. I haven't been downtown in a while, so I'm really excited. Yeah, and I think we have Chloe on the call. I might need to get her up on stage. I saw her in the audience.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, Chloe from the Tahoe team is here as well. And we have Jesse too, who's also representing from Matter Labs. So yeah, really happy to have everyone here. And yeah, just it's been such a hectic conference couple of weeks. So conference heavy couple of weeks, I should say. So yeah, really thanks to everyone for like making the time for this AMA as well. And yeah, it's been quite a few, as Nico was saying, like fun few weeks to get to know the zkSync era ecosystem a lot better. It's still growing, right? So like a very young ecosystem. So I'm glad that we're all here very early and got to know a couple of hidden gems and some who have really established themselves super quickly, even though it's only been live for a couple of months. And I know that Tahoe and Across has seen like really great success as well in such a short period of time on that ecosystem in terms of activity on our infrastructure products. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. But first, as we have Chloe come in here, maybe we can have just Jesse and Sam just like introduce themselves. I'm sure everyone's really familiar with myself and Nico by this point. So we, yeah, love to know the team behind this whole campaign.
Sure, I can start. So, Sam, nice to meet everybody. I'm the head of DeFi at zkSync, really helping out grow the ecosystem and onboard different projects and also users as well.
Yeah, and hi everyone. I'm Jesse. Thanks for having me. I'm also in the BD team at zkSync. I help a lot on the infrastructure side with bio, and also work on some external to the ecosystem integrated stuff in the world with crypto. So yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to say a big thank you to Sam too, because there were a couple projects that I just didn't have any connections with personally too. And it was really nice because they were able to be guests on our campaign. And thanks to Sam for making that connect. That was really helpful. And yeah, we have Chloe here. Chloe, did you want to introduce yourself? You also joined in on our community call in Discord when we kicked off the campaign. So for anyone who's been more loyal to the Twitter spaces, if you want to just introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Chloe. I'm head of content and social for Tahoe.
Nice, welcome. It's been super busy over the Tahoe side too. So thanks Chloe for making the time to join this. And this is our grand finale. So let's kick it off. As you guys know, we've went over the past couple of weeks, been talking with all the different projects on zkSync era and doing some deep dives on them. 15 in particular were chosen for this campaign. So I wanted to ask Sam or Jesse if there were any projects that you think we missed? And is there potentially any engineers building something a little bit more behind the scenes that you guys are super excited about that hasn't come out yet?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't think you missed any. I think it's what's ahead, right? So one project I'm keeping an eye on is Derivio. They're a perp protocol that's being launched on zkSync in the very near future. So I'm really keen on seeing how that does. There's a few others that native dexes like Avos that have a strong team behind in the background that haven't launched yet. Also Zero Lend, I think they recently launched that and really recently crossed $1 million in TVL. So these are just things I'm paying attention to that were not in the original campaign, but keeping on my calendars and making sure to follow and understand and learn more about the team.
And how about Jesse? Any of your personal favorite gems that are zkSync era native?
I think you guys covered them in your initial coverage, and Sam mentioned a good couple. There is one team I work closely with that I think will be quite interesting to see in the ecosystem. It's called Clave. It's a wallet that is mobile first and uses your Face ID basically to natively secure a wallet. So I think kind of this UX focused sort of approach to the ecosystem is also really great.
Nice. Nico, do you have any bias towards any of the projects that we chatted with over the past couple weeks?
I will say the zkKitties got me really interested. I learned all about the marketplace that's on zk era. As everybody knows, I'm an NFT buff. Um, and I just enjoyed, kind of the ease of use and, just how quickly I was able to kind of get into the marketplace. It's a big departure for me from open space. Open space or open, open sea is just literally like being out on the ocean, in a little small boat. So you've kind of got to know what you're doing and you're amongst some big whales out there. But man, I jumped on Element and like we were talking about on the last call, I used my Taho wallet and I bridged over with your bridge. And once I had funds on ZK, it was fun. It reminded me really of the old days, back in 2019 where markets were, just really easy to navigate. So that was kind of my gem from the campaign.
Nico, I didn't know you were big into NFTs, or I would have said we also have some stuff that's brewing very soon in terms of some large partnerships that will be being announced.
Man, I would love to talk to you more about that. And I'm glad we also have Chloe on the call. We really worked hard, and our team was really impressed me with our NFT viewer. And one of the things that I love about internally in the wallet is you have all these toggle switches. You can go into a collection. If you don't want to look at that collection at the right time, you can toggle everything off and toggle on just the collections that you like. And of course, everyone knows, there's sleep minting and there's, a lot of unwanted NFTs that magically get delivered into your wallet. And we set it up so you can just turn everything off. And gosh, I would love that opportunity. That'd be great to integrate with you guys.
Yeah, a lot of people had in terms of the NFT campaign guests that joined, they had a lot of great things to say about the NFT functionalities within Taho Wallet. So yeah, interesting. I love the little teaser of some alpha that more NFT focus seems to be brewing on zkSync. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I gotta say
dude,
though,
alpha always
I
too
love,
excited. You know me.
I mean, I can
yeah, and
maybe dive deeper a little bit.
Not to push you,
I'm
man.
not the NFT guy, but I have some intel to share.
Yeah,
we're all
we're all
ears.
ears.
Yeah.
All right, so I think with related to the NFT partnership, it's going to be like a large collection, a very popular one that will be migrating over. And then in terms of like our plans of NFTs, I think it's going to be working very closely with in DeFi. I think they could do go hand in hand in a lot of ways. So we launched in July like a NFT campaign, which we airdrop to the users of zkSync. But I think we want to do more with that, whether it's with kind of like almost like experience points, and also potentially with like governance. So there's definitely a lot of things that we want to plan to do. So yeah, this is just like the beginning.
That's incredible. And one of the things zKitty mentioned, and I've had this conversation with some other smaller projects. They liked it on a professional side, and that really made me blush. I love community members that use the viewer and just accessing the wallet, but they actually use it at the at the corporate level. It's their preferred tool. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I'd love to be a part of that. Sorry to jump on that, Chloe. If you had something to add.
No, I think you described it perfectly.
Yeah, and apart from the really cool innovation in terms of NFT-Fi and NFT utility that was presented by zKitties, I did find it like pretty mind-blowing to get to know Velacor, just as someone who's spent a lot of time in like the deck space and kind of thinking that there are just so many decks out there that everything's kind of been done. It's hard to imagine that we can really push the envelope. These guys were doing things that, I didn't think we could ever imagine, like just removing the epoch system, taking the V model, but like removing the V NFT and switching to ERC20. I don't know. I just thought there was just so much innovation there. There wasn't enough time in that AMA, sorry, to go through everything. And like researching for this campaign, that project really was like the darling of all the sort of CT influencer deep dive threads of which projects to look out for before zkSync era went live. That one was kind of like the constant on all the threads. So it was cool to get more details on that one. That was a cool one.
Yeah, Velacor. I actually had a chance to meet with them in Singapore. Yeah, definitely a really strong team. They've been able to execute really well, and yeah, definitely one of the folks I've been keeping an eye on as well.
Yeah, that blew me away with the Dex model as well. And I know we've had these conversations just about tearing down walls. And one of the things I love, it's kind of one of our core values at Taho as well. It's really just to have an open landscape. Web3 shouldn't prevent anybody from coming in, and we, the developers behind all of our respective projects, so like everybody at Across, everybody at Taho, we really need to all kind of work together to just make sure that there's this open freedom for everyone. And I like that with Velacor. They talk specifically just about tearing down barriers of entry. As an American citizen, it's difficult to get into certain types of investment, certain finance tools, and they actually, they kind of predetermine who they're going to bring to the party, and that was really rewarding to be a part of that discussion. So I think that's one thing that every project kind of has in common. We all want to bring on board the next billion users into Web3.
I appreciate that even though it's very innovative, like tech heavy financial product, they still had their fun side, like just from a branding perspective as a marketer. I love the waifu token and the waifu visuals, like just that element of like cheekiness, I think works really well. Like Tahoe does that very well too with like, I know previous branding, but the Tally Ho sort of previous branding was really fun. I think was able to like grow an audience very quickly. I like with Across, we have our ranger character, so it's not like strictly business. And yeah, I think those things just help protocols gain an audience. And yeah, Velacor's done that very well. So apart from the teas that we got, that a massive NFT project will be migrating over to zkSync. Gas savers rejoice, I think. We want to know too what other unique dApps are best suited to only be built on zkSync, if any.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think in twofold, right? I think one is yes, there's certainly apps that are uniquely great on zkSync. For example, any project that uses oracles can experience significant savings because how we batch the transactions, so that if you do like one ping, um, versus as many as you want during that block period, uh, there can be a significant delta in what the gas price is, and also uh, it allows like as fresh of a price check as possible, and this really benefits lending protocols and per protocols or anything that depends on like checking an oracle price in terms of frequency, which has really been like the blocker for a lot of liquidity to be unlocked because people not necessarily want to have incur bad debt and be subjected to losses. So I think that's like really unique to zkSync in the long run. I think secondly though, I think we are building an EVM compatible network. So the idea is it is a relatively low lift if you want to commit to zkSync or any other chain. So it is you're able to kind of mix and match, and we don't want to tie anyone down in terms of, we just want the market to figure out, hey, this is the best, and then go from there. But yeah, ideally, I think that from a cost savings perspective and also from like a security perspective, I think zkSync is very uniquely like architected in a way where the foundation is there for the long term.
Okay, interesting. So for just to explain a bit further then, for protocols that would be like heavily reliant on oracles, then of course we're thinking then that zkSync would be more finely tuned to DeFi protocols then.
Yeah, I would say specifically within DeFi, yes, like the Oracle aspect is huge. Um, I mean, there's other parts that we can talk about. When you talk about user experience, there's account abstraction, and when there's other stuff. But yeah, I would say specifically DeFi. I think it's the most observable difference, and yeah, for those kind of applications where it's really important for them to get accurate pricing so they don't get exploited or incur unnecessary losses. Yeah, it's super important.
Okay, and then I guess personally, I wanted to ask. I think this campaign we really lucked out. On previous campaigns, we were. I think that there was just more focus on DeFi protocols and maybe like a bit less variety, but on zkSync era, for being still like such a young ecosystem, I think this campaign was lucky to have a great mix of um, DeFi, but NFT platform or marketplace with an email service. There's a lot of different like domain services. But yeah, there's so much variety. But I wanted to ask, like personally, what both yourself, Sam, and Jesse, what you would like to see more of on zkSync era. Would you like more NFT marketplace type things, more NFT-fi like lending protocols?
I say so. One aspect here is UX before anything else, in my opinion. And yeah, like we said earlier, lowering barrier to entry for anyone to access any app. So the reason, like I know Tahoe is an amazing wallet. I didn't mean to like shill a wallet earlier to say like this is a good wallet too, but it's more what I said earlier is the wallet infrastructure that Taho and other sort of wallets and people that are owning the user experience can push for integrating. Basically, removing the requirement to have any level of user managing security seed phrases. And I think that's something I'd like to push for more across any app. And then the other piece is because account abstraction is natively implemented on zkSync, we don't require apps to pay third parties to do account abstraction. So, you still have to set up your paymaster, and there's definitely paymasters as a service. But basically enabling gasless or paying gas in non-ETH currencies as the core experience for users is also a piece that I would like to push more apps to focusing on.
Yeah, and I'll jump in. I appreciate you mentioning us on that because it we're a fully open source project, and from day one, which unbelievable, it's been 2 years now, just realizing with that. But we've always really reached out to our community early on, just to kind of find out, some of the things they want to include with Taho. We're fully open source on GitHub, and people can actually fork the wallet and really dive into what's under the hood to figure out what aspects they want to improve or add to it. But we've found, just after such an incredible journey, it's really the community that's brought stuff forward. And I'm duly impressed to hear you, kind of mention some of that that access directly, because I think underneath underneath the fact that it's an exciting new chain, the things that I love most about ZK are just that they're drawing in so many different projects and so many different ideas. And again, it's just this level of excitement, but it's the UX at the end of the day. When you make something easier for someone, you make it easier for everybody. And just having simple little UX stuff. And I'd love to hand it over to Chloe too if you want to add, because our developers, that was one of the things that they worked on early is just how do we make it easy for everybody to use, what buttons are available, what are the simple things that will encourage people to come back and use the wallet again. But then we have that reverberated by top developers, and even people that are managing projects. And if it's easy for someone that's just picking up Web3 for the first time, it definitely makes it easier even at the highest level.
Yeah, I totally agree. That was kind of our philosophy in building the wallet. At first, I think our project is very unique because we you built such a robust community before even we had our beta wallet, right? And then we came out with the community edition, and we were heads down for a year and a half, really building out the best possible wallet experience for our users. And I think the biggest thing comes from like the design, like shout out Vlad, our designer. Um, because not only is it user friendly, but it's also just really pretty to use, right? With the dark green, um and like, the color scheme is just really appealing to the eye. And also, yeah, with our, for example, like our NFT feature, it's like it's so cool that you can see your NFTs in the wallet. And back in April, we extended our the UI of the NFT feature so you can see like the live price. You can, filter out your NFTs. So you can only, if you just want to see a few at a time, like it creates that just really beautiful ambient experience. And yes, to reiterate your point, Nico, just ease of use for first time Web3 users is so important because personally, Tahoe was the first Web3 project that I started to work on, right? So, I mean, I started out with MetaMask, and then immediately now Tahoe is like my primary wallet I use, just because like it's actually the wallet I pretty much learned the ins and outs of Web3 on.
I wanted to ask to uh, Nico and Chloe, like if if you guys know this, like how the Tahoe Wallet's zkSync activity has been like since you added support to that chain.
That is good. So our custom networks campaign that we did with zkSync was one of our most one of our like highest amounts of participation for any campaign that we've done. So that brought and it brought a lot of our users to zkSync. Um, as far as I can just give me a second. I will get you some numbers for that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll
Sounds great.
jump in too, just to again really to thank Across, because it's your notoriety on these campaigns. Our mission, of course, we originally brought on a couple of layer twos, but we wanted to add support for zkSync, and in so doing, by adding the support, for example, it's a heavy lift. We had that conversation with your engineers from a day one perspective. You put a little bit of focus on it, but once that initial and your engineers were amazing, by the way, to set a goal and actually achieve that and come through with that. But once the engineering work is done behind the scenes, with either project, whether it's Taho, Across, or um, Matter Labs, I think we all agree that moving forward from there, it's a little bit easier to bring on some other chains. But largely, zk Sync support had been brought on, and it was a little bit quiet at first. And gosh, when you guys announced this campaign, I was over the moon. I mean, I knew that it would really bring in, and I'm already seeing just a huge result. This element and major projects. Again, I'm heavy into the zk side or into the NFT side, but a lot of a lot of notable projects had really kind of come out of the woodwork and just said, wow, it's amazing to see such impact from this campaign. So.
Yeah, I feel like this is breaking news even for me, but I'm like looking at the Across internal data sets, and on the 17th, so like 2 days ago, 62% of our volume was zkSync. The day before that, 60%. The day before that, 43%. Like I knew that zkSync was doing massive numbers for us, but I didn't know it was that high. And our bridge volume, according to DeFi Llama, in the past like 24 hours has been like 13 million. So that's like a lot of volume coming over to zkSync. Whoa.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I'm laughing because back in February, we were all, Tahoe and everybody was at ETH Denver. ZK set up a taco stand. You could download your app and they sent everybody $10. And I remember, it was all testnet. We were just doing stuff back in February on testnet, buying tacos at a taco truck. And now I'm, I'm just I'm laughing to hear these numbers. That's just so amazing. I mean, it just tells such a positive story about Web3.
Yeah, who can we credit for that idea? Sam, Jesse? We'd love to talk this through.
That is a good question. That probably goes to our events team, and they were very creative in terms of that execution. But yeah, it's really funny to think about it. Like the release originated with just the use case of buying tacos at a food truck, and now here we are, doing thousands of multiples of that, in a few minutes. So, yeah, I think that just goes to show like kind of the scalability, and I think that's just where we're coming from. And even now, I still think we're at before a real inflection point, right? So there's still so many things that we haven't unlocked yet within our own network in terms of the infrastructure, that will make it a lot easier for even more projects and users to get on board. And I think that's really when you really see the foundation that we've laid out, and where the upside is. Because like Nico said, there are some minor things here and there that we're tweaking. But when the things are dust is settled, I think that's really where I'm really excited to see, in the coming years.
And speaking of like the coming years, I wanted to ask for the Matter Labs team, like what are your like sort of internal theses on what interop will look like in the future? Like we talked a little bit about account abstraction, But in terms of looking into potential avenues like smart chains, potentially intents, we talked again, wallet abstraction. What about chain abstraction? Any sort of innovations you guys are thinking of?
Well, yeah, I think for us, there's two things, and Jesse, maybe you want to add to any of my points. So the first thing that I'm thinking about long term is like zk Stack and how any dApp could run their own zk rollup on top of zkSync. That enables the projects to have various controls over their blockchain and be able to have their own choice of privacy features that they may want, and also increase the scalability that they might need. So that's super exciting. That could onboard a whole different set of companies, right? Like if you think about a lot of payment companies like Visa or MasterCard, this could be totally neat for them because they don't really want their users' credit card information to be out there, but maybe it's important to have some kind of audit trail, and internally you would trust them using zero knowledge proofs. The second part I see is just I think more in the near term is the potential of having EVM equivalents on zkSync. I think if that's executed well, then a lot of the kind of infrastructure hurdles will be reduced, and I think a lot more projects could really just launch right away, and that could be huge, just as a catalyst in the next coming months.
Yeah, the only stuff I'd add to that, I think Sam hit it nail on the head. Just in the focus like on interop. But if you go to the zkSync docs, and we'll have more on this as it kind of rolls out the features, but the docs on hyperscaling and the general vision of zk Stack is that we've open sourced our core Era L2 as the first of many zk stacks, and so this currently it uses live validity proofs, unlike any other zk EVM, or the first of any other zk EVM. But the core premise is that when other people launch with this stack, there's a smart contract on the L1 on Ethereum that keeps track of everyone else's chains within the zk stack. And so when you have multiple chains that use the same framework, they're actually natively interoperable. There is no requirement to have added bridges necessarily. You actually can message between the hyperchains, and so that can get really unique. And like protocols like Across that can enable kind of at the user experience level really easy multi-chain experiences. It becomes even easier to obfuscate away that.
Okay, wow. I feel like, okay, our teams are going to have to chat a little bit more. So I want to see what is sort of going on behind the scenes with that. Because, yeah, that sounds super interesting. My goodness. And by the way, Chloe, if whenever you're ready, just feel free to hop in. Curious about, yeah, Taho and zkSync activity for Taho users and how that's been going.
Yes, so I can pull up from our Galaxy. 1 second. Because as you guys may know, we had just had our optimism campaign, so seeing a lot of optimism data here. But yeah, so for our zkSync campaign we did over the summer for our Zk Explorer NFT, we had over 23,000 people claim. So that's 23,000 Taho users that we have, whether they were already familiar with the ecosystem or whether we brought them to the ecosystem, which is one of our most highest rates of participation for any of our.
Everyone's so sorry, zero clue, like what happened there. The Twitter gods are not in our favor today.
No,
But
I
we'll
was
just do,
laughing too
yeah.
because we're actually breaking Twitter. There it is, Web3. We're coming to get you, Twitter. That happened to me last week on a call, though. Yeah, sometimes you just get we get a little bit beyond their I guess, it's just their functionality. Sometimes they drop calls.
Okay, I'm glad that you're saying it happened to you too, because I'm always like feeling it's my internet. I don't know, my phone's cursed.
Yeah, no, it always happens right at the worst times. Right when you're in like a juicy conversation, the call just gets just totally dropped. So I was thinking even having a co-host might help that, where it would just jump from you to me. But no, I guess that's Twitter for us. So we're gonna need we're gonna need to get some of that zk direct messaging that Jesse was talking about implemented pretty soon here.
That's so strange. And Chloe was saying how you guys had like 23,000 participants on the Galaxy campaign for like the specific zkSync focused campaign, which is like was huge numbers. So yeah, I agree with you, Nico, that it seemed like when zkSync launched, it felt a little bit quiet, but the numbers really prove otherwise.
Yeah, and we've made it very easy for users to add zkSync support to Tahoe via chain list. So anybody can add the chain.
Oh, that's another really great feature, eh? I think we should do a small, if you guys don't mind, like a overview about that, because that's super helpful.
Yeah, so when we first launched support for other chains in Tahoe, they just came plugged in to the wallet. So we first launched Polygon and then Optimism and Arbitrum. So when Tahoe updated or when you download Tahoe, you would just, you would automatically be able to start using those chains. Then we added custom network support. So it makes it super easy to add any EVM compatible chain. All you have to do is just go onto chain list. Oh, and then navigate to the network dropdown, scroll down to add network, and click on the link to chain list. And then you connect your wallet, you just browse for the chain you'd like to add and just add it to Tahoe. So just with a few clicks, you'll be able to have access to zkSync and other EVM compatible chains.
This was one of my favorite ads too. The developers really hit a home run because, and I think Chloe and I will both agree. In the early days of MetaMask, it was kind of like being out in the wilderness. You'd need to perform a transaction, and a lot of times if you're trying to get into an auction or something like that, and you're not really sure where the source is coming from. So working with Chainlist, it's a third party, it's an organization. They verify, and they've definitely got much easier setup, in my opinion. I hate copying and pasting RPCs and getting stuff from random web pages. So for me, it's just so seamless, and it's all totally integrated, which again, I love just making it easy for everybody. I mean, anybody can come in there, and we get requests all the time in our Discord. Hey, can I try out this? Am I able to get to that test net? And anything that Chainlist supports, it's literally just three quick clicks away. So big hats off to that one. I also wanted to just scoot back through. I know we had kind of an open talk about interoperability, and another aspect that I really love working with Across specifically, our wallet is, um, I want to say Web3 agnostic, in that the other day I was bridging with Across, and I was bridging from Arbitrum to Base. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute, I want to get some funds ready. I know the zkSync campaign is coming up, and I just went right from Base to zk. And of course, on Across, it's beautiful. It's really easy for me to kind of navigate through. The pull downs are right there. But with the Taho wallet connected, we think sort of one step ahead. And so, again, going back to MetaMask, you'd actually have to go into MetaMask and do a separate pull down and make sure that you're on the right network. And sometimes the transactions can actually fail or they get in this netherworld, but it's just a real nice feature. It's something that goes well with UX. If you switch over on Across, it'll automatically just bump you into that network once it's installed on Taho. So it's kind of a nice plus, especially for new users.
Yeah, super, super seamless. And I wanted to ask the ZK team, like Jesse and Sam, in terms of how you guys felt internally of what the results have been since you've went live for activity in your ecosystem. Maybe like a year ago or something, like zero knowledge tech was just so it was everywhere, right? Even Vitalik was like strongly backing it. It was like all over CT. There's so much noise, and everyone was super excited, right? And highly anticipating the Era launch. And yeah, since launch, it feels like it's quieted down a bit, but clearly as the Across data shows, as the Taho Wallet data shows, that's not the case. So curious, like internally, if since launch, the activity has been like what you expected, less than you expected, more.
Yeah, I can talk to this, and then Sam, maybe if you want to add. I'd say, like generally, like the market ebbs and flows in activity until we have a good amount of use cases that are integrated to the point where like people can't go about their lives without using crypto. Then for now, it can be like kind of determined by market forces and people's demand to do things on chain and find new stuff to do. A lot of that comes from our ecosystem side, and so as we have more projects coming out, there will just be generally more unique things to do. And I think in terms of the ZK attention, what we got from Vitalik, like there's a combination here. There's ZK rollups, which are like data compression technology, and then there's ZK for privacy, and those kind of are totally separate categories. And Vitalik speaks to both often, and there's even more ZK VMs on the market now than there was like a week ago. Um, for us, we being a live zk rollup and being able to offer this ability to access Ethereum at scale is the number one priority. But pretty soon we'll also have some exciting stuff around privacy and ability to use the chain and access apps while maintaining different layers of privacy, whether it's application level, transaction level, or asset level. And all of those, a lot of those applications end up being really important. The privacy side being really important for institutions or entities that have to maintain some sort of like compliance or some sort of standard that requires privacy. So sometimes these things happen behind the scenes for many months, and then they just come onto the market, applications for privacy. But until then, you have a good amount of consumer apps that we'll see as well.
Yeah, I think, going back to the question of like expectations. So, yes, it's kind of funny that you asked because when I think about it, it exceeded my expectations in some ways and others it didn't, right? So I think where it exceeded is actually like, I think originally we were not going to launch until like much later where, we had everything in a row and, rather than just push to prod, then just, make sure that everything could be launched and everything was fully bullet out. So I think in terms of like how we've executed, we kind of launched just when we had the initial mainnet ready, and there was a lot of hype around it, and we wanted to make sure that projects can be onboarded. And then during that time, I think there was a big explosion in TVL and attention. I just think as we roll out, because the fact that we are EVM compatible and not equivalent, that made it a little bit slower in terms of like the catalyst and the momentum of projects that could be launched onto zkSync right away. As you can see now, we're kind of still working a little bit backwards in terms of helping projects be able to deploy and also have the infrastructure for them. So it's just a matter of matching those two timelines. So I think once that happens, that's going to be like what I consider our real launch. Right now, I still think it's kind of like in the pre-mainnet kind of phase in terms of like where the chain is. And I think once that happens, I think that's really when we want to see like where we really are. And I'm very confident in like our team's ability to execute on that. And in terms of like the ecosystem itself, like in the DMs, you probably already know that we have a lot of the projects that want to launch. It's just a matter of the timing. So it's once we have that on lock in the next coming months, then I think there'll be a real growth in the ecosystem and network.
Lovely. Well, yeah, we have seen nothing but positivity since launching on zkSync, and from what I gather, so was the team over at Taho. And yeah, our users are super happy. It's been a great experience. The past couple of weeks have been amazing, getting to know all the projects that were very early to the ecosystem. And yeah, we look forward to seeing the growth. Like it's really only up from here. And happy that projects such as Across and Taho are there to support as infrastructure to support the growth of the ecosystem. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone sorry that we had to sort of do this twice. But yeah, we have a big announcement, a huge Galaxy campaign. I feel like we'll just save it for a Twitter announcement that's coming up in the next couple of hours. It's going to be really exciting. ZK Planet, kind of a huge NFT artist. He designed everything for us. It's been like weeks and weeks in the planning. And yeah, that's it. I just want to thank our guests for joining today at Taho Wallet, Chloe and Nico, and the team from Matter Labs, Jesse and Sam. This is the end of zkSummer for now. Maybe see you next year.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us. And yeah, looking forward to really blowing it out in the next coming seasons.
Yeah, next up, ZK Fall. Follow me and Sam and other people at Matter Labs for updates. Thanks for having us.
It's always summers.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And if anybody is attending Mainnet or ETH NYC this weekend, I will be in town.
Yes, I will be in town as well. I'm so excited for Pragma on Thursday and ETH NYC. So yeah, let us know over the Tahoe Discord, or give us a tag on Twitter here. But Amanda, thank you. I've got to thank Matter Labs, everybody that's been on this week. It's such a great group of partners that you put together. This was really, again, it was more of an event, than just a campaign. I mean, this was so exciting. So thank you for everything. We really enjoyed everything. And for all the projects that are coming on board, yeah, we love working with everybody. It's been amazing to integrate, just get so much exposure on ZK. I think it's just great for the community.
Yeah, a lot of DYOR we have done for the community and for ourselves, selfishly. But yeah, you guys have been great hosts, co-hosts. Sorry, I mean to say, like, truly, truly loved co-hosting with you guys. Nico, I couldn't have done it without you, seriously. So yeah, thank you everyone, and look out for in the next couple of hours a big announcement. Thank you so much. It's been fun. It's been great. Cheers, and everyone enjoy zkSync with Taho and Across.